Awesome. Since it is now 5 o'clock, I call to order the Town of Normal Planning Commission regular meeting for Thursday, February 4th, 2021. The governor has issued a disaster declaration related to the public health concerns caused by the statewide COVID-19 pandemic. As the chair of the Planning Commission, I've determined that an in-person meeting is not practical or prudent because of the risk of exposure to the COVID-19 virus stemming from indoor gathering, and that the remote meeting is in the best interest of the health, safety, and welfare of the commission, the staff, and the general public. Mercy, please take roll.
Okay. Mr. Zimmerman,
Here.
Mr. McBride,
Here.
Ms. Wittergren,
Here.
Mr. Broad,
Here.
Mr. Bozer, Mr. Matika,
Here.
Ms. Lund.
Here.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, number 2, the minutes. Commissioners, if you've had a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting and there are no additions or corrections, we'd be ready for a motion.
I move to approve the minutes from the the January 7th meeting.
Second, and I'll second.
Mercy, again, please take roll.
Sure. Mr. Broad,
Aye.
Ms. Lund,
Yes.
Mr. Matika,
Yes.
Ms. Wittergren,
Yes.
Mr. McBride,
Yes.
and Mr. Zimmerman.
Yes. Thank you, Mercy. Next on the agenda is number 3, public hearing. 21-0203-PC, amended site plan for 1500 West Grab Road, the Heartland Community College sign. Mercy, can you please tell us a little about this?
Sure. You bring it up on the screen. So what we're looking at here is a picture of Heartland Community College's campus. As you know, it is a very large campus, and they are proposing to add a freestanding sign down here where I put the red circle. The applicant actually provided nicer illustrations, but I just thought I would start with this one because it's simple. The sign that they're proposing would be rather simple and would have an electronic component. As I mentioned in the report, it would be 12 feet tall, which is the maximum height permitted in this location based on the frontage of the property, et cetera. The sign would be about 91 square feet in size, and you could actually have up to 200 square feet. So it's well under what you could have by way of, area. The reason why you're seeing this as a site plan amendment is because it requires a variance. If it didn't require a variance, we would have considered this too minor to go through the public process. But as I noted in the report, sites with this kind of zoning have the ability to have one freestanding sign per street frontage. They have 2 street frontages, RAB and the interstate. They have 2 freestanding signs already. The one that's the original Heartland campus sign, which is over here. And then they have a sign over kind of closer to the stadium next to the interstate. They also have a sign that was approved with the National Guard facility that was never installed. So that had a variance as well. So this is needs a variance. I would hazard to say that even with the National Guard sign in place, we would still think this 4th sign is fine. It will provide much needed direction and information for a large campus. So we do not have any objection to this. We recommend in favor of it. And I know that there are 2 people here from Heartland. Michael Lundeen is the architect, and then Jim Hubbard is kind of in charge of the whole place. So.
Thank you, Mercy. Commissioners, do you have any questions of Mercy or town staff? Seeing none, I guess we can open the public hearing. If anyone would like to speak, please be invited into the room, I suppose. State your name, address, and affirm to tell the truth.
Yeah, and I'll just interject briefly to say that nobody from the regular public asked to speak tonight. And so Michael and Jim, I told them they didn't have to present anything, but I suppose if either of you want to add to what I said or correct anything, that's what AJ would be looking for.
Right.
Yeah. Great. Thanks for the opportunity. This is Michael Lundeen, and I want to say first, just thanks for the opportunity to address the Planning Commission. And I must say, Mercy's been very helpful, to help us through the process. Not that it was really difficult, but she just made it really, really easy by, pointing us to the right direction on things. And so I don't have anything to add. I think if you've looked at the exhibits, that they're pretty self-explanatory. I do want to mention that, the college did finish up a master plan recently, and this sign was reinforced with the master plan. It's important to better identify the Millennium Boulevard entrance. There is a small sign there which will go away right now. So I just want to say thanks for the opportunity. If you have any questions, Jim or I would be happy to answer those.
Sure. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
So I'll say, for starters, that I'm basically in favor of this proposal. Heartland's a really important part of our community. It's an educational institution, and it needs a sign there. So I will also say I'm not a big fan of digital signs. In some cases, I think they can be really obnoxiously ugly. I don't think that's the case with this sign, but I did a little bit of research, and I noticed that in some places, municipalities try to avoid putting digital signs in residential areas. And I did notice that the property to the south is zoned residential. It doesn't currently have any residents, except if you count Corn as residents, but it might someday have people living there. So I wonder if you could just comment on what impact you can imagine this sign having on any possible future residents who might be living, just across the street from it.
Yeah, so currently our code restricts digital signs by motion. And so they're not allowed to basically be a video. They can't swoop and swirl between messages. They have a dwell time of, is it 6 seconds, Greg? I think they're supposed to be static for a few seconds. You could certainly, I suppose, argue to have it sit still for longer, but it shouldn't be flashing. Like, flashing is definitely distracting for drivers. It's distracting for people who live nearby. So I would say the amount of movement is something I would consider when residents are nearby, and then brightness. And brightness is something that, can be addressed easily with any modern electronic sign. Our code isn't real specific on it, though, I will say that. So it's more of a complaint driven kind of thing. And we have many digital signs now that are kind of near residential, and we really don't have a history of a lot of complaints. When people have called, we talk to the owner and they typically just turn the brightness down. So, but it's a point well taken. I mean, it's something to think about.
Yeah, and I'll say that we recognize that. And Mr. Tim Bill, our Executive Director of Marketing and Public Information, has shared with us when we brought some sample equipment out there that videos would not be worthwhile, and neither would scrolling text. He just says that when you move stuff that quickly, and he was aware that I think it's 6 second standard or 8 second standard. I can't remember what it is, but he recognizes the fact that we're not going to have flashing, rolling text, video, and that kind of stuff. It'll be more static. That will change every roughly 6 to 8 seconds, whatever that standard is.
Wonderful. Any more questions of Jim or Michael?
Yeah, AJ, I've got a question.
Sure.
First of all, I would say that I'm supportive of adding this sign here. And as someone at my university was in charge of going out and changing the letters on the signboard, having to get out a very tall ladder and change the letters, I appreciate that you're using this type of sign, that someone can change what it says from the comfort of their office. My question, Mercy, if you don't mind scrolling, I believe it's page 8 of the packet. Maybe not. Okay, I see. If you can keep scrolling, there was a couple comments. There was some text about the team.
Maybe this one?
There we go. The landscaping plan. So those two little paragraphs there seem to contradict each other. So the first one says that the college is still in the process of determining sustainable landscaping standards for the site, but then the next paragraph says that the landscaping planting plan meets the requirements of the town zoning code. So can you just speak to, I know it's a very minor thing, but can you just speak to that and if the plans are complete?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so basically, oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I'll let you go, Mercy. Yeah, I'll let you answer and I'll add to that.
Well, we don't have like really specific standards landscaping around the base of a sign if like the rest of the site has met the landscaping standards. So like we know that they're gonna put in basically flowers, ornamental grasses, some shrubs. That's fine. Like we're not worried about is it 6, is it 9, you know, because it's not that specific. And they're literally not doing anything else on campus. So we don't have anything else to tie it to. So
Right.
we are comfortable with this level of detail because it's such a minor change, but I'm sure Mr. Lundin might actually have more specifics.
Actually, I'm going to pass it over to Jim because he and I recently had a discussion. I must say, we don't have a specific plan for the specific landscape at that location at this time. But what I'd like Jim to just address, the college has a relatively newer president, and the president has made it a priority to add landscaping, including flowers, whether they're annuals or perennials, around the campus to dress up entrances and so forth, to make it easier for people to understand where they're supposed to enter. And this is going to be a priority of his also. And so I guess I'm going to ask Jim if you can add anything that Keith has identified that's important to him there.
Yeah, I can tell you, and Mercy doesn't know about this, but Keith has given me a mandate to spruce up the campus a little bit. And, recently we had this ice storm and we had a lot of damage with some trees. So there's going to be some tree replacements. But in addition to that, and along with the facilities master plan that we just completed, he would like me to bring out a landscape architect to the campus that would help us start to spruce up the campus in general. And we know that in accordance with the annexation agreement from way back in 1998, that we plan to abide by the ordinances of the town. And so we're going to have a landscape architect coming on campus using the ordinance and using our desires to spruce up the campus a little bit in hand. So this particular sign will kind of go along with that. Now we're going to, the landscape architect will probably come on campus sometime this summer. And we expect the construction on this, if everything goes as planned, to be that time frame as well. So they will help us in designing what that will be. Obviously it'll be low plants. We don't want to cover the sign with high plants. We recognize that for parking lots and stuff, there's other standards for the town, like shade. We need to put shade over parking lots and stuff. So we'll have all of that in consideration as we start to lay down the landscaping for this particular sign. And that idea of sprucing up signs also will include the other sign that we have on Community College Drive, which is basically a brick sign standing there with no landscaping whatsoever. So our intent is to, spruce up a few places on campus, including this. There you go. There's the monument sign. Grass is the only landscaping we have there. Does that answer your question?
Yes, absolutely. And looking forward to seeing your campus spruced up.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Any more questions of Jim or Michael? Not seeing the whole list, Mercy. So do you see any? Okay. Well, then I guess we can close the public hearing at this time. One last request for if any commissioners have any questions for Mercy or Greg or town staff. Not seeing any. We would be ready. Oh,
Mr. Chairman, if I could, just for a second. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I was muted before. I just want to make 2 quick comments. The dwell time is 4 seconds. And so I think what Mr. Hubbard and Mr. Lundin talked about was 6 or 8, but the minimum time is 4 seconds for the message to come static. So that sounds like that's in their wheelhouse. And then just also, Mr. Hubbard is correct too. And I want to identify that the original sign, it doesn't have any landscaping around the bottom of it. It wasn't required to back in the day because, as Mr. Hubbard indicated, that construction began in the late 90s, 98, and our landscaping ordinance didn't go into effect till like 2001 or 2. So glad to hear they're going to address them both at the same time. So it'll be great. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Any questions based on what Mr. Trammell said? Seeing none, we'd be ready for a motion at this time.
Make a motion that the sign be approved as presented by staff.
I'll second.
Wonderful. Mercy, please take roll.
Ms. Wittergren,
Yes.
Mr. Matika,
Aye.
Mr. Broad,
Aye.
Ms. Lund,
Yes.
Mr. McBride, and Mr. Zimmerman.
Yes. Wonderful. So now we move to item number 4, the election of vice chairperson.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Oh,
Joe.
thank you.
Have a good night.
Oh, and I'll just let you know that this will be on the council's agenda on February 15th. So that's a 7 o'clock meeting. It's not a public hearing. You are obviously welcome, encouraged to tune in. I don't know why they would have any questions for you. So, but, you know, I can send you information if you want it.
Yes, that'd be good. Thank you, Mercy.
Yeah, if you could send it, I'd like to tune in just to listen, just to be sure it goes through. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Thanks. Have a great night.
You too.
Thank you, you too.
I guess that
Okay.
means those guys did not want to become the vice chairperson of the planning commission.
Apparently.
I was hoping.
They did such a nice job too. Yeah, so this is because Dave was the vice, and when he moved on, I didn't think about the fact that there was no vice chair anymore. Plus, I think the meetings were canceled, so.
Anyone who would like to serve as vice chair?
Perhaps
Everybody offer
one,
a win.
perhaps a 1 or 2 sentence description of the duties of the vice chair would be helpful in letting people decide if they want to volunteer.
If AJ is unable to meet his duties as the chairperson, one of you would step into his role. You would take the crown. Mostly just running the meetings. I think that's really it.
Well, I will volunteer, but I will also gladly defer if anyone else is interested.
Sold.
I will nominate R.C. McBride, and based for those with little historic knowledge, R.C. served on the Planning Commission for a number of years before he went to the City Council, so he knows the ropes very well.
And as vice chair, I believe also.
Yeah.
Right? Can I second that?
AJ,
Hey,
you're
I
not
don't know.
going to AJ, you're not going to disclose that, like, when you have had to serve as the vice chair, it was like the Blackstone Trails fire station meeting,
Oh.
you know, with torches and pitchforks. And so
Yeah.
there's that.
Yes.
I remember that meeting.
Yeah,
I also
Rick decided to go
remember-
take a long.
Yeah, we were
One
thinking
thing-
about Rick the whole time.
Yeah.
You're right.
So
And,
RC, just so you know that
for
he'll
Mercy
prob-
and-
likely
for Mercy
be
and Greg.
absent when we bring One Normal Plaza back to life.
Yeah.
and for Mercy and Greg, I also remember the great chicken coop controversy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. There were donkeys and horses in addition, but people weren't as concerned about them.
Yeah.
It was
I
the
don't see
chickens.
chickens in our future.
Neither. So I guess I have written down that Mr. Matika moved and Mr. Zimmerman seconded, which seems legit to me.
Okay, I can do take
Want me to call
take
the
roll.
roll?
Yeah.
Okay, I will do it. Okay, let's see, Mr. Broad,
Aye.
Mr. Matika.
Aye.
Ms. Lund,
Yes.
let's see, who else? Mr. McBride,
I abstain.
Oh, wait. Oh, God. See, I'm confusing myself. So I actually wrote this down and I can't, did I put this on the wrong line? Tracy, did you vote already? Oh, okay.
No.
What's your vote?
Yes.
And Mr. Zimmerman.
Yes, yes.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you.
Wonderful. That's very good. So the last thing is adjournment, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Wonderful. Well, thank you. This was
Okay,
a very good meeting. Well, good.
I think I technically have to call the roll again, and I'm just going to make it easy and go right down the list instead of being clever. So, okay. Mr. McBride,
Yes.
Ms. Wittergren,
Yes.
Mr. Broad,
Aye.
Mr. Matika,
Yes.
Ms. Lund,
Yes.
and Mr. Zimmerman.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. I'm glad this was recorded for perpetuity. Anyone can watch that.
I will later.
Excellent. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Do
Thank
we
you.
have a meeting next
Bye.
month, Mercy? Do you know?
Not sure. I will email you all as soon as I figure it out. I don't